Boom. All right, we're off to the races. Okay, got John Mosales here. We got Brian Shade, our new projection master. We're doing a review of a mock draft we just did, 16 team with everyone at Sport Ethos, and we're gonna go over it and kind of break it down.
Sounds good.
So, Brian, you want to just intro yourself or talk a little bit what you've been doing?
Yeah, I mean, this is my second year with Sports Ethos. This year, I'm trying to just stay more on data side. For 9 to 5, I work mostly with data, so just a bunch of Excel modeling. I've done projections for Ethos for the past 2 years. Currently in the works on a weekly projection tool, which I think will be honestly better than the year-long. Year-long projection tool is a lot of kind of mean averaging. It's great for finding probably the best, finding great like workloads and stuff like that, or opportunities for workload. But the hard part with the season long is like week to week upside. So like a chain's probably your top like boom or bust guy. His projections aren't going to look awesome, but you just need to know baked in is a lot of upside and downside. So it's been great. I've been kind of digging into that for a few months now. I'm looking to get everything updated probably once we have full rosters, just to kind of get everything set in stone for season long projections. And then week to week, I'll be working with all the experts here on just how they think certain games are going to go.
Cool. Yeah, great. So for anyone who's going to be watching this, yeah, his projection model is part of the Sport Ethos Fantasy Draft Guide. We're really trying to be, more data driven, more analytical, because fantasy football, as everyone knows, is chaos. And if you can sift through the chaos and find some key data points, right, that's going to go a long way, especially for the people who are just playing off gut, right? Okay, let's dive into this draft. So you had pick what, 6, 7 here?
I had 8 out of 16, so
Okay.
middle of the draft.
Yeah, so for everyone, it's 16 teams, single QB, PPR, but right with 16 teams in a snake draft, it can get thin real quick. So we'll quickly go over the draft, but let's just talk about your team, and just break it down to the decisions you made and why.
I mean, start off, I went Brees Hall. I think a lot of people are seeing McCaffrey pre-calf injury. Well, that's a whole different issue, but McCaffrey and then probably Bijan, Brees Hall together. My models show pretty similar. I think Brees Hall's, I mean, he's going to be a volume king. They fed him the ball last time on a terrible offense. Hopefully this year the offense is a little bit better, a little more efficient. More touchdown scoring opportunities is the goal, but I think he's a great start. I was surprised he lasted that long to pick 8. We are a 3 wide receiver starting with 1 flex, so makes sense a little bit more why wide receivers were probably prioritized earlier.
Plus, that's kind of the theme of this year, right? Everyone's wide receiver crazy, right? Running
Yeah.
backs are kind of getting pushed down.
And I think a lot of that is best ball. I mean, I think a lot of best ball affects that. I Some people say best ball is like where all the big brains go to play. I think running backs are a bit more valued in season long just due to consistency. Yeah, you might not have as many boom weeks as wide receivers might, but in a week when you're a season long, you need a bit more consistency because you can't just get whoever ends up hitting the best. You have to pick and choose, and it's a lot safer with top tier running backs. But after Hall, I went with Cooper Kupp. I think this pick looks a lot better in the recent probably week and a half. I think there's just been a bunch coming out on Puka was a little banged up. He's probably fine, but everyone's basically been saying, oh, Cooper Kupp, he's man on a mission. Things coming out of training camp are just he's a workaholic. He's put so much time into weight room and getting himself in peak condition.
No, I mean, I'm the biggest Puka guy, right? So
Yeah,
I did a lot of Puka Cup comparisons. Like I think Cup had the same or more red zone targets with half the targets, right?
yeah.
But so Cup projection model, like what is it? How does that work, right? Because he had 2,000 yards 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend on who's the right now. My first go around at the projection model, I had Puka as wide receiver one. I did that maybe a little bit before kind of the new news came out. I had Puka at like 6 overall and Cup at about 18. I'm leaning towards just swapping that, honestly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like, I think I'm really high on Cup. I know we're doing top fives later on. I think he could be in my top five. I just think he was hurt, and even when he played, he still had multiple 20-point plus performances. Hamstrings are a bit wonky. He's not like super old.
31, but with an ACL tear. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just think.
But he's eating a kale smoothie right now, right?
Yeah, I think everything that's come out is just he is putting himself in position to be a top tier player again. So, I mean, where I got him, I think is pretty safe.
16, yeah,
Again,
20, 24, yeah.
With 16 team leagues, I know for a fact whenever he's in, he's going to get volume. And I think in these deeper leagues, having some a safe floor is good to have, because at some point you just need to score points. I think everyone's all about who's the next upside, who's this, who's that. Like in a 16 team league, if you go upside everywhere, I just think you're going to be hurt, because if half of them hit, your team's just going to be half duds and half maybe great. But like I just really wanted kind of a baseline for 16 team league. So following Cup, I went Lamar.
Oh, sorry. I want to stick on Cup for a minute.
Yep.
So the model, so what is it? How does it work? You got for two elite wide receivers, right? You got Philly, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. Does wide receiver one 30% target share? And does wide receiver two take like a hit? Is it like 24 or?
I mean, I think so. In my model, it is a lot more. It's more like year long, which can take into account injuries and stuff. So like currently I have Puka at 20, close to 25, and Cooper at 22.5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I still kind of work in like, one random week, I don't know.
Get hurt in the first quarter or with two targets.
I think Whittington is a big name out there. Say Puka misses a week and Whittington has like 6 targets that 1 week. It's just going to kind of bring up the year long. So it is a little more kind of base, but I think currently I have Cooper at 85 receptions for 950 yards and 6 touchdowns. I have Puka at 1,200 with 6.5 touchdowns and 97 receptions. So I can see them kind of both coming down to more that 1,100 as like a safe projection for it. Obviously, booms and busts, but I do think they're both pretty safe to get 900 plus yards and 5+ touchdowns, which is a safe floor.
What about ceiling? Let's talk ceiling. Let's say Cup and Puka healthy all year. Combined 3,000 yards.
It's not. I mean, there has to be yardage that goes elsewhere, like tight ends. I think who's their tight end? Higbee's hurt, so my guess is what's the guy's name? Parkinson, I think, is the name that's coming out in camp. He'll probably get 400-ish yards. I think I have Stafford. What do I have Stafford? I have Stafford at like $4,000 or 4,000. So
yeah.
There's going to be more people with yards. So you have, I don't know, 10 more people with at least 50 yards. That's 500 yards. A lot. It's going to be a lot more. Like wide receiver 3 is probably going to have 500. 4 is going to be around like 300.
But we've seen Stafford likes to hyper target. Last year, I mean,
yeah,
he was throwing to Puka or he was throwing to Cup, and right. It was great to get 1 or 2. Okay.
I mean, Tutu ran like a bunch of 3 wide receiver sets, and Tutu had some games last year. I think
mostly when Cup was hurt earlier he had 100 yards week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I still think they'll be. My guess is 2,500 if they're both healthy. It'll go probably split around there. I mean, that's just hard to predict, but I currently have them in like a safe projection at 2,100 combined or 2,200. So
Okay, let's move on. So we got so you Lamar. So you're the big. Don't take a QB early. I don't even take QBs in Super League. And then here you are against the grain, going upstream. Lamar Jackson, your third round pick.
I mean, super flex. I'm more get one of the top three, or don't go early. And to me, top three are Allen, Hurts, and Jackson. I actually have Jackson as my QB1 this year in projections. I just think I remember hearing something where it's like there's 3 years he's been healthy, like played every game. He was MVP in 2 of them.
Sure.
So,
yep.
Like if he's healthy, I think he's very highly likely to just have very likely to have a great year. And I think at this point, who knows if he's going to be healthy or not. But if I'm putting this capital in him, I know he can boom for me. So he's my QB1. There are already a few QBs that were taken. I'm very happy with him here. As a result, I mean, you can see later on, I just kind of punted tight end. So in this deep of a league, I spent high on a QB. So I like to only spend on one of we call them onesie positions, but one of either the tight end or the QB, and then just kind of take a shotgun approach at the other. So the way it landed, I liked the value with Lamar, so I went there.
Cool. And then you got the Flowers stack, right?
Yeah, probably reach for Flowers, but again, the stacks add some upside. Flowers was a good PPR guy. He wasn't great last year. I think he ended up like a wide receiver 3. If he scores more, I think he's great. Again, in a 16-team league, I think he's safe. I think I can pull up my rankings for him.
I think people are sleeping on Flowers big time. I mean, the whole thing used to be you wanted second-year wide receivers, right? But now it's because the rookies made the jump. Everyone wants rookie wide receivers, and everyone's forgetting about the second-year guys. Like
I have Zay as like a low end, on the kind of the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 edge.
Yeah, well, he's the de facto number 1, right?
Yeah.
They kind of got the air raid, but Lamar's gonna. What do you have? 30? How many passing yards did he have? Did he have like 3,400? Did he even get to that?
Projections for him, I have him at like 3,600.
Wow, right? 3,600, another 800 rushing.
Yeah.
Right. And if Henry vultures some touchdowns, well, that's not a big deal. But the Jackson Flowers stack. I mean, I think Flowers is going to be he's going to be crazy, right? Guys make these huge jumps.
Yeah. I mean, he's a with having Lamar, I'm very happy to kind of reach a little bit for him just as a stack, add some upside to my team. I went extremely safe in my first 3 picks, and I think I like going that route in like this deep of a league is just get people I know are just safe, are going to have volume and going to have opportunities to score. And then Flowers, I think, is safe to a degree. If he was my 3rd wide receiver, I'd love it, but he's my 2nd. So, all right, that's fine. I drafted a QB early, so I'll accept it. Like, I think he's a good, solid pick there. He's not my favorite wide receiver 2 to have on a team, but in a 16-team league, I think I have to kind of adjust my rankings there a little bit and just be satisfied.
And it's the stack, right? As long as Lamar's not handing it off to Henry or throwing to Andrews, you're probably got a hand in that touchdown.
Yeah.
Or 2 hands, right? Let's talk about my first 4 picks for a bit because everyone wants to talk about their own team. So I go Bijan 5. Is that what you would have done? Or would you go Brees? Or 6, sorry.
To be honest, they're so even to me. I'm happy someone else made the decision. I'm in the position where it's like I don't want to choose between them because later on I just feel like I'm going to choose the wrong one. So, I mean, I can't argue with that pick. I think probably Atlanta's on the better offense. Like Atlanta will have the better offense, I think, than New York, but
probably.
New York has less of a competition in the backfield. So I just think it's pretty even.
I was listening to a pod. They said PFF has the Jets as the top 5 O-line. That surprised me.
They're just old.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the Avengers coming back. It's the most recent Olympic team. Like they're just all old. They're good, but you never
They're
know if
still
someone will
one.
pull a hammy.
So downsides, let's say it's Robinson versus Hall, because I think that's going to be a big decision people make, right? Bijan, you're worried about the potential split carries with Algier, right? And Brees, I think you're just worried about the turf.
Yeah, you're just worried about injury, and you're worried, is Rodgers going to be efficient? Is he like, we haven't really seen him play in a year. Last time he played with the Packers, he wasn't that great.
He had
So
no
it's just,
receivers, but yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So Bijan, and then I went running back, which I've never done in the history of probably me mocking. Pacheco, which how's your model? Because he's just a great floor guy too, right?
Yeah, I didn't hate that. I'm pretty sure I was debating Pacheco, but I saw Cup, and I've been very high on Cup, so I was like, I normally go running back in these mocks just because I love getting that safe floor of top two and then just shotgun approach at wide receiver later on. So I definitely don't hate it. And I mean, yeah, I have Pacheco as I have him pretty low in mind, but a lot of it is based off last year's offense, which just didn't score as many touchdowns. I think he's a pretty high upside with a lower floor. I mean, with
Okay.
with a higher floor. I mean, sorry.
Higher floor. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's.
Me, Brian.
Yeah, sorry, that was my bad. I think he's good. I don't think he's going to be a top 5.
No.
But I don't think he's going to bust. Is my thing. So it's especially again in these types of 16-team leagues, and we're going 3 wide receiver. Like people, I really just think it's good to go safe first 3 picks, and I think top 2 are definitely very safe.
And then everyone's favorite tight end, McBride. I'm a Laporta guy, but he went around early. I've had some mocks where McBride goes before Laporta. So, what does your data say about McBride? Because there's not a lot out on there on him.
I mean, he looked awesome at the end of the year, and everyone's pretty high on this Cardinals offense now with Kyler back for the full year. I think Kelsey, Laporta, Andrews, McBride. I think those are. I have Ingram kind of in there with them, but I don't think Ingram has as high of a ceiling. I think Ingram's floor is a lot lower, so that's kind of why he's in there 5, my projection. But I would normally group like Kelsey, Laporta, Andrews, McBride, and I just take the last one. Or, you took third one. I just think that 4 is a tier, and if you get one of those 4, great. Other than that, I just feel like it's kind of a drop-off or a major drop-off between those 4.
So you're not in the Dalton Kincaid bandwagon? You're not – I'm not saving room for you on there?
I've just heard that, Dawson Knox is still taking first-team reps.
Okay.
He could be. Maybe. I just think that tight end, because it's a onesie position, I feel like there's always a few people that get hyped. Kyle Pitts every year. This is the year. Maybe this is the year. Who knows? Honestly, even like Evan Ingram, when he was younger, every year this is the year for him.
Yep.
These athletic tight ends get that a lot. So I'm not taking the risk.
Prove it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then And then I'll just go my last guy, Keenan Allen, because that's a classic old guy that nobody really wants anymore. New team, shared system. What's your projection have him for? Those Bears has got to be crazy because there's 3 of them.
Yeah, so that pushes him down a lot.
Like 775.
Well, I don't know if you've heard the recent things where he's overweight now.
I didn't know that. Obviously, 265. I saw a tweet.
Yeah, he's around 250 at least.
Yeah, I think it was actually a joke tweet, but he's that big.
Yeah. So
good big though.
I don't think so.
That big?
I think he's bad.
Okay.
This one, Bears are tough. I think Bears, Packers as well. Packers a little bit more just because their QB situation. DJ Moore's the one, and I think that's pretty set.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, he's low because I also have Rome Odunze doing a good amount. I have Keenan at like 650 and 4, but a lot of that is because I only have Caleb Williams at like 3,500.
Okay, wow. Well, yeah, I mean, right, rookie QBs, right? How much can you?
Yeah. My model is going to be very conservative on rookies. We pretty much kind of go like we take into account the offense last year, which was not that great, and we take into account kind of the average performance of a QB in general.
Mm-hmm.
So those two are both like if you start at average and then you start with you're then basically brought down by Chicago's offense. So it's conservative there for sure. Prior to the news, I liked him as like a start the year off. He's going to get targets and then see if you can get rid of him, trade him. Goes off in week 1 and 2, and then see if you can get off of him.
Sure, smart, yeah.
I think he's going to start pretty well and then fade off when Roma Dunze takes more and more. I just don't think DJ Moore's given up that much target share. Well, I think he deserves it, and I think he's a stud.
We saw last year, right, with the Seahawks. I think I was big on JSN. I think you were too. Who wasn't? Yeah. But if you're that third wide receiver, it's just you're not getting the snap count, you're not getting the targets.
And like last year, my model too was pretty. It's like DK Metcalf is a stud, and then like what's happening between Tyler Lockett and JSN. And I just don't. Geno at the time, he just couldn't carry all three, and I don't.
Couldn't even carry.
It's going to be very hard for Caleb to carry 3 startable weekly wide receivers.
I agree. Okay, let's get back to your team. Let's get in the weeds here. So Xavier Worthy, which does not seem like a Brian pick.
I need some upside. Like my team was pretty safe. Zay Flowers has upside just because of youth, but like last year was a pretty safe 6 for 60 type player. All the new, it seems like Rashee Rice will play. I don't know.
Not suspended, right? I think that's the official news.
Okay, so yeah, he's not suspended. So then, yeah, I'd probably push him down a little.
But then Hollywood hurt. So
yeah, people seem to love Pat Mahomes. Like it's just a shot in the dark. Honestly, he's my third receiver.
I feel it's a little early for a shot. I
agree
because it's just Mahomes. You just don't know who he's gonna mesh with, but.
Yeah, like what's pick? I'm trying to think. Like that's a deeper pick than is expected just because of 16-team leagues.
Yeah.
But I don't hate it. I went pretty safe later on with wide receivers to kind of catch up. But I wanted to add some upside. I think I had a pretty safe team and I had room to take a shot. And I just think if he hits, I'm loving life. If not, I have some backup.
So what's your philosophy when it's a crowded wide receiver room, right? We got Chicago, we got 4 with Green Bay, right? Kansas City, there's always a bunch. Do you want to take the top guy or the last guy, or I guess the middle guy?
I tend to just choose one I like. Like this year, I probably look for most upside. And especially if who I see as the most upside guy is also not the first taken, then I'll go for that. Like Packers, I like Christian Watson still. I'm still on that train. I just think he's an athletic freak and he's always commanded, no matter who's kind of been healthy, he does command some targets. Here, he's super fast. Rashee Rice, at the time that we made this draft, was still kind of up in the air. I'd probably go Rice over all these guys, but at the time, I was happy with Worthy, and I just think he's the guy. But the 3% chance he's Tyreek Hill 2.0.
I'll give you 3%. Okay, and then I usually love your drafts, even though when it's the crazy and you take 6 backup QBs and no first, I get the value. But then you Najee Harris, right? I can't believe you're a Najee guy. Can't believe your model likes Najee.
I think I'm kind of going. I wasn't high on him at all, like full transparency. And then I've kind of like dug more. It's like, all right, who's the offensive coordinator now? Arthur Smith.
Yep. Okay.
Who are the QBs? Russell Wilson / Justin Fields. Like, it gives me like play action running. Play like Arthur Smith was Derrick Henry's guy. I think there's a chance that he is just kind of a safe RB2. He'll be between RB20 and RB25. And again, I went very safe in this just because it is such a deep. I want people who I know I can start. I think Najee at the time was all right. Like I was looking at Brooks and kind of got sniped there, but like I'm happy with Najee. I think he'll get enough yards. I have him at like 800 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Sure. Yeah, he's a floor guy with no ceiling, right? He lives in a. Yep.
I think people are kind of losing. They're not seeing that as much. So he's safe. He's a volume guy. I went with a lot of volume guys other than Worthy to start.
Okay. Let me just break in. Anyone watching? Remember, you should be joining Sport Ethos, grabbing the All Sport Pass, especially get the NFL Draft Guide. Right? We are on Twitter. We're on Discord. Right? We'll answer your questions. We do it all, especially in season. Brian, you got your Twitter handle up there? Yeah, Shade_fantasy. Check me out at John Mosales. We're about probably halfway through here. But I want to stay on the Steelers thing because it's Steelers. They've got the best competition, right? So we got Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, right? We're going to talk about that a little later. But would you take Najee? Would you take Najee or Warren? Fantasy, both are up for grabs. Warren went before Najee here.
I take the second one. Ideally, just wait. I mean, I would
like
probably take. This is full PPR. I'd take Warren. I think he'll end up better. I think Warren tends to have more like he'll have a 20-point week and then a 6-point week, and then Najee will just have a 10-point week every week. Like that's just kind of what I seem to expect. So Najee is safer. I think Warren's you're more kind of up and down, but in a PPR, I'd definitely go with Warren.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, because I mean, I think everyone just thinks Warren is just better than Najee, right? But
I mean, not by I'm not a coach.
Yeah,
like I'm not a football coach, but like people keep wanting to feed Najee. He must do something, right? Like I get it. Like you can look at him on the field and he doesn't look as explosive, but like they're playing him.
Yeah, but there's also Matt Canada, so maybe All right, okay, let's keep going here. And then another pick I kind of hate, Javonte Williams, because I've had him last 2 years, and he's 10 carries, 50 yards, and no touchdowns every game.
Yeah, I mean this year. So 2 years ago, massive knee injury. Last year, recovering from the injury. This was the one guy in my model that I think I had to change the model the most for.
Oh, okay.
Right when I started out, he was a top 5 running back.
There's a problem with the model.
Yeah, it was. All right, think of a Sean Payton offense.
Yeah.
Very heavy on running backs, utilizing them passing and rushing. And he was just getting a lot. Like, I understand they have Estime, they have McLaughlin, Jaleel. I might have said that, or I definitely butchered that. But like,
they don't really have anyone though. Jaleel's okay, but
yeah, he's a scat back third down guy. Like he is what he is. Like the only one in that backfield that projects that like has a three down skill set is Javonte. I moved my model around a lot just to like bring him down because he was way too high. But like I do keep that in the back of my head that if he takes on that massive workload, I think he could be a steal. I'm not again, like I obviously took other people ahead of him and I got him at like it's the 7th round in a 16-team league. It's not that much of a
That's true. It seems a lot better when you say it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he has an opportunity to get a lot of workload, and I just keep that in mind. I moved him down. I think he's now, I can pull it up real quick, but he's a lot lower in ranking. I mean, he's honestly not that much lower. He's like 12 or something, but
wow, that's okay. I mean, my thing with running backs is it's like, okay, he's got a bad O-line, kind of bad QB, right? Bad team, right? Broncos might be the worst team in the league, so I just feel like they're going to be down 14-0 a lot, right? They're not going to run them. It's just, I think it's an ugly situation.
My last argument there is Peyton loves Bo Nix. I think it was because he reminded him a little bit of Breeze, and in that offense, they dumped it off to running backs all the time.
Well, they had Kamara, but yeah.
But like it's not pretty. Like last year, Kamara having 14 receptions for like 30 yards. It's not pretty, but it scores you points.
Yeah, and PPR, yeah, you don't care. Yeah.
So he's a sneaky upside guy that I keep in mind for a lot of these drafts.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you trust your model, and that's the cool thing about having a model, right? Some guys just like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
Trust the numbers, right? Okay, let's pick on my team for a bit. So after Allen, I don't have a wide receiver yet, so I go wide. Christian Kirk, right? Again, probably another all floor guy.
Yep. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. is the guy they brought in?
Yeah, Gabe Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I love that pick. I probably would have taken him over Worthy if he was there, just following my safety pick. But I think he's gonna be solid. And you need some with going running back, tight end. Like you definitely need some points from your wide receivers, and I think he's a safe start.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's probably one of the last wide receiver ones on the board here. It's a passing offense, and then he just got hurt.
Maybe this is Trevor Lawrence's year. Who knows?
Yeah, I remember he got hurt. I had a bet on his over yards. It was like first play of the game, 26-yard reception. Halfway there, I'm like, let's go, and then he leaves the game, doesn't come back for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, that hurt. But yeah, I'm a big Kirk guy, and then Lad McConkey. Okay, so back to rookies, right? We got an offense. It's supposed to be rush heavy. We got a QB with a cannon. We got the two departed wide receivers. It's absolute chaos. Weird name. Tell me, Lad McConkey. Are we in? Are we out?
I like him. I mean, I think especially like this is kind of where you probably got like the middle tier of rookie wide receivers. They started kind of going when I think kind of Rome Odunze went. Then I followed with Worthy.
Well, Neighbors probably somewhere too.
Yeah, I think Neighbors and Harrison were way earlier.
Yeah,
it's those two, and then kind of the next tier.
Yeah.
I think he's solid. I think there's a lot of opportunity in that offense, and that's another one where I don't have anyone projected out that well. But that's just because no one knows who's going to be the guy. So like I currently have probably a bunch at like 15 to 12% target shares. One of them might be a 20. Who knows? He has upside to do it. And Herbert's a good quarterback. And as much as everyone says Harbaugh's like a run heavy coach, I just think he's a good coach. And if he notices my team's best when we pass, I think he'll pass. Like he's not an idiot.
Yeah, the run heavy thing gets blown out of proportion, right? The Lions like to be run heavy, right? Because that's you got the line run set up the play action, right? Their run pass split is I don't know what I pull it up, but I'm sure it's still 60-40, right? Like I'm just probably like 60. It's probably like 62-63% pass. Like
yeah, I have it here. Their lines were 54-45.
Oh wow,
55. So
last year they were.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh, so they were number.
I mean, they were. The big thing with them is like they're also leading a lot. They had a good record, so I think that tends to skew things.
True. Yeah, two lead running backs. Okay. Let's do one more for me. We got Lad, and then Gus Bus. I think weren't you the big Gus Bus guy last year?
Yeah, I mean, I liked him. I didn't think it would all come strictly through touchdowns, but I guess that's a hit.
I didn't realize I went Chargers. I don't even like the Chargers, but apparently I'm in.
I think he's their one, unless Dobbins like makes a comeback. I just hear people talking up Dobbins. I don't know.
He tears something every year. Like
he's a safe flex. Like you're starting him at the flex spot, sure. I think he's pretty safe there.
What do you got for Gus Bus? Right, 700 yards, 8 TDs.
Touchdowns are probably not what they should. I have him at running back 19 as the ranking. Touchdown. The offense, I don't think Yeah, I have him 850 and 7 touchdowns.
Okay, cool.
So
Okay, so let's just move. We'll power through your team here. So your late round picks, guys. Who do you like? Like, who's your model say? Screamed out at you.
I think Cook's just wide receiver 2 on a good offense.
Yeah, great offense.
I think that's safe. I think their offense does have a lot of regression back to the mean. Like a bunch of people had career years. I'm not saying they're bad, but just not everyone has a career year every year. I think that's kind of going to come back to just kind of veer a little bit back to the mean there. But I still think he's a solid bench player, fringe starter in a 16-team league. Khalil Shakir, he might be the one there. Who knows? Like with Diggs out, who knows? That's kind of a shot in the dark. Those two I took as like, I'm probably not going to start Xavier Worthy first week. So I'm between those two, starting probably at the wide receiver 3 spot.
Yeah, play by matchup, right? I don't know. I don't have the week 1 lines in front of me, but yeah, if the Bills are playing, the Lions in Detroit, right?
Yeah. Pearsall was my other receiver that I got. I just think that's more of I don't know what they're doing with Ayuk. Maybe he's wide receiver 2 in a good offense. Just an upside guy, young guy. I don't think it's going to happen, but again, just there's a shot. And back of the bench, tight end, I pretty much punted. So I wanted to get Taysom Hill. That's like my go-to tight end if I punt the position because he's just boom or bust. And you just never really know how he's going to be used. He got sniped before that pick, which I was annoyed at because it was an auto pick.
Okay, yeah.
Which like who auto picks Taysom Hill, but I guess somebody does. But I went Isaiah Likely. He's like I think he's their third best pass catcher on that team. Behind Andrews, Flowers, and him.
Yeah, I still kind of like Rashad Bateman, but yeah, I get
like third or fourth. I just think he's an option, and I also know if Andrews is ever hurt, which seems to happen a lot, he's a top 5 tight end play every week. So
for sure, yeah.
Upside there, plus with Lamar, it's just a stack.
Yeah, Likely had touchdown. He had what I'm looking. He had 5 touchdowns in the last 5 games. Right.
Yeah,
that's all you want.
Like I just think that team could they have your quick guys and Flowers, Lamar. Like just imagine going Isaiah Likely, Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews on the field at the time. Like you just have big humans, and you can run and pass out of that however you want.
Yeah. Running the option, couple drag routes.
And like when I think he was like tight end 20 something picked. So it's like I can't beg for that. And then Greg Dulcich is my other one. I think he's a starting tight end there. And maybe he's the safety blanket for a rookie QB. I think he's a big upside play. Obviously he's picked way later. It's just, again, I need upside if I'm going to shotgun this approach. So
yeah,
my tight end is by far my weakest spot, but it is what it is. Then I think kind of the only other notable is Jalen Wright, Dolphins running back. Both A-Chain and Mostert are known to get hurt a little bit, and they like to run 2 running backs. So maybe he just plugs in for one of them. Just kind of a bench upside piece. Somebody else's handcuff.
That was in the washroom? I'm looking for something.
But yeah, and then obviously kicker, defense. I mean, they're pretty. I got who I got. Chiefs, I don't hate as a defense, honestly. But
yeah. I mean, they had the top 3 defense last year.
Yeah, I think I have a very safe team. I think this team would make the playoffs. I'm not like I don't know if they'd win it. I don't know if I have the upside to win it, but at some point, let's just get into the playoffs and hope for the best. It's kind of my mindset, and I just think this is a pretty safe team. Obviously, injuries aside, but
sure, yeah, of course.
I have one of the higher floors, I think.
Well, yeah, but also 16 team. I bet everyone thinks they're making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So let's go. I think the top guys are easy. Let's just look at the board. Let's pick some of these guys, the later round guys, that maybe your model likes. Keaton Mitchell, right? He's a guy that I just Henry's old, right? He might take a while, but He's the RB on your bench, right? In terms of backup running backs.
Yeah, I think it's a similar. I mean, I have him doing pretty well. I don't know how he's going to bounce back from that injury.
Sure.
I mean, he's a pass catching back there, and I have him at like 500 yards rushing and like 200 or maybe 300 receiving.
Wow, that's a lot. Jeez, that's nice.
Yeah, I think I have him around like 750 total yards. So again, it's just in this type of league, you never know. And maybe he is like the Tajay Spears to Derrick Henry last year, where he was playable. I mean, he had his big weeks. He busts. I just think he's boom or bust. I don't hate that.
Yeah, but it's insurance, right? If Henry goes down, it's jackpot city, right?
Yeah, I'll say one pick I don't like is Marvin Harrison. I think he's getting drafted at his ceiling.
So the ceiling's the tower in Dubai.
Maybe.
No, I hear you. It's gone kind of crazy because it's like, okay, ceiling. Ceiling, I guess, is what Puka did last year. It's like, what, 1,400 yards, maybe 8 TDs. Like, he's not God, right? Like,
yeah, that's pretty much my mind. And I just think everyone expects him to just be, maybe he will just kind of get out there, guns blazing from week one. A lot of the times, even great wide receiver like picks, I just think like rookie wide receivers, I think they take a little to get up there. He's someone I'll look at if he is not hitting after 3 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks. I'll then see what I can pull off, kind of thing.
Okay, but let's talk Marvin Harrison, my guy, who I've been very adamant that he is my guy. But maybe I shot him up the draft board. I can imagine. But okay, so he went before like Marvin Harrison or Drake London. We're gonna play this game.
Drake probably.
Really, right? He's got a longer unproven track record.
Yeah, but he's got better QB for receiving the ball.
Well, he has a QB now. Yeah, I don't know if I'd take 36 Achilles Kirk Cousins over Kyler, but okay, Drake.
But you also have a backup of I think.
Yeah.
What I forget the guy's name.
Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, I think he's an air raid guy. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And he did great on Washington when they had a crap ton of weapons, and that's what Falcons have. I think he'll do fine in relief there if need be.
Yeah. Okay. This is where it gets Marvin Harrison or DK Metcalf. Like Marvin Harrison's ceiling is what DK Metcalf is going to do, right?
Maybe, yeah, that's kind of my thing. And like, I don't know why DK Metcalf lasted to the turn. Like, Ayuk went ahead of him. Mike Evans, not the biggest Mike Evans. Chris Olave, I get. Adams, that Raiders team, I just want to stay away from. Like, maybe he's great because I know what that receiver show basically made him look like he hated Jimmy G throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
So I still think he's talented. I just don't know. I mean, I get where he's going. I think he's like Harrison. I just think he's being drafted at a ceiling, and I don't like. I'd rather kind of get a running back maybe there. Like, I'd probably go A-Chain over him.
So that's for you. That's a hard tier break after AJ Brown, right?
Yeah.
And then, right, because it's like, right. I mean, right. Nico Collins, right? Would you take Nico Collins over Marvin Harrison? I mean, right. Nico showed you everything you needed to last year.
I think Stroud's great. I do. It's just with Diggs coming in, I don't know. Maybe Diggs is still an alpha. I don't know.
I don't think he was ever an alpha.
Tank Dell is still solid. If they all end up with 800 yards and 6 touchdowns, I wouldn't be surprised. But then, like, none of them's really a wide receiver one.
Okay. But we've seen that's not usually how it works, though, right? There's no communists in football, right?
You're right. I don't know.
No, it could be Tank Dell, right? No, nobody knows.
That's not like a bet. Like, I'd Jalen Waddle over Nico Collins for sure.
Really?
I think so. Last year we had Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, the 3-2 man. Yep.
they were all the second wide receiver on good offenses.
Yep.
And they were all drafted between like wide receiver 10 and wide receiver probably 15. They didn't hit, and now they're kind of all dropping down. I wouldn't be surprised if you see all of them kind of move back up into the wide receiver 15 range, just because like they had down years, but like their QBs can handle it.
Where's Devontae get drafted? Because didn't he's finished like a monster 2 years in a row.
Yeah, Devontae got drafted like end of the third. Like, I'm not saying I like Marvin Harrison over Devonta, but I'd rather like get a running back there and then Devonta later.
Okay. Oh no, he didn't actually beast. Okay. Yeah, that's a great point because that was my thing. I did draft Waddle and Devontae Smith a lot, because if one of them gets hurt, sure, but plus, maybe a lot of times they double, right? They double the hard guy, and then your guy's free, or he's getting the second corner. Worst case, there's tons of value. But yeah. It's funny. The community, they love the fantasy football. Everyone loves to overreact, right?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a big, just kind of going back to the model. It's hard. Like, I use a lot of previous year data, and even with that, like I kind of regress everything to the mean. So whether you're a CeeDee Lamb with like the best year of your career, I'm still kind of bringing you back.
Of anyone's career.
Yeah. Or if you're like who had a just crap, like Patriots offense, that's still probably going to be better than last year. Odds are it has
to be.
Yeah, like odds are it'll probably be better than last year. Or like Pittsburgh passing offense, like probably going to be better than last year. So it's just like every like end, whether it's good or bad, I tend to kind of bring it back to the middle. And that just kind of helps me see, like, all right, where could I find? Everyone hates the Pittsburgh offense, but like
they do this year.
I guess not this year. I'm trying to think this year, like the wide receiver twos. Everyone hates kind of going in on them again. CJ Stroud, one of the best rookie years he could have, but like he doesn't run that much.
Nope.
Like I'm not drafting him in the top 5 of QBs or top 6 or 7. Like
he'd need like 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, again, you're drafting him, in my opinion, at his ceiling. So like I'd rather a Richardson who has a higher ceiling or a Kyler Murray with like the rushing. Or honestly, Jaden Daniels. Like I probably maybe not rather him, but like at the price from Jaden Daniels all the time.
Yeah, of course, right? So I took Justin Fields in the 10th. I guess your model can't even make decisions about that, right?
Well, yeah, because I have them at like 50-50.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it's just difficult for that. Like he's never going to look great in the model, but I love it. Like you pair him with a Goff, you're going to start Goff for the first half of the year. And you can just like he's a high upside stash on your bench. Who else is going to provide? Who else could you put on your bench at that point in the draft that could win you weeks? That's kind of my mindset with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think he's a solid pick there.
So I took him, I guess, 10th round, 16, like 160. But where, realistically, like how early would you take Fields? Let's say I just thought he was running a wide receiver today, but let's say it's still 50-50, but you think he's going to win the job, maybe week 4 to week 6.
That's just that decision is like I punted on like you did. You punted on the QB position for 8 rounds or so, and then you just went back to back. And I think that's kind of how I do it. Like you went with Goff or Fields. The other QBs drafted were Herbert, Lawrence, Rodgers. Like those were the other guys drafted around him. I just think that's a perfect. You're basically just not to say handcuffing, but it's like a perfect pair there.
Yeah, thunder and lightning. Yeah.
You have somebody safe enough who's going to play. He's going to run an offense, but you just never know. Like a Purdy with him also I like.
Yeah, Purdy got sniped. I literally messaged Jason being like, you sniped him. He's like, I didn't realize he's a Niners fan. So there was no chance he was falling.
Yeah. So I like Purdy's another guy. Purdy's a guy I sneaky like to pair with Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, so you got to get McCaffrey first.
Well, yeah, like if you're the number one.
Yeah.
if I'm in the number one spot, I would maybe try to like go a little earlier on tight ends, maybe at that next turn. If an Andrews or Kelsey falls to me, I wouldn't mind kind of pairing that up there.
Because
And
you know
then
you're going to
go
find that
later in
QB
QB.
till late. Yeah, I like that. That's great. Okay, well, let's wrap this up shortly. Let's go. Give me your. Let's go rapid fire. Let's go for your favorite picks of each round. That sounds fun.
I always love Taysom Hill. Pick 12, love that. Or in round 12, love that just because he could. I'm kind of working my way up prior to the defense's kickers round.
Yeah, because he might get the throw. He gets those 50-yard bombs for a TD, right?
Yeah, or he'll throw one in like a flea.
Yeah, that's what I meant. He throws it. Yeah.
Thielen, I still think he could be good. Like the offense can't be worse than it was, and you have the guy who made Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith look good the past 2 years, like in a row. He's going there. I think that offense will improve. He's the number one for now. He's probably a good, like, if I draft a bunch of rookie receivers, pair him later on. I think that's a solid. I'm trying to go back up. Jahan Dotson, there's been good news about him. He's kind of a post-tight sleeper that I'm keeping an eye on. I don't know exactly how I feel, but I like it.
I like the talent. It's just I just don't think Jaden. I just don't think he's going to be throwing like not quality throws. Probably like 180 yards average, I'd say, but with 70 yards rushing, right? Plus hurt, bad O-line, but they'll be down a lot, I think, or they're bad. So but lottery ticket, right? It's all about the lottery tickets. All right.
Yeah, I think Pat Freiermuth I liked last year. I still kind of have a thing for this year. I just think he might be their second option in the receiving game.
True.
And
okay.
You're gonna get better. I just think you're gonna get better QB play than Kenny Pickett last year.
Yeah.
So,
but Russ hates tight ends.
Yeah, I mean he can't throw it over the middle of the field, so hopefully he just does outs instead of ends. But I'm trying to let's see. J.K. Dobbins, I think, is a good shot this late. Just who knows? If you need a running back, maybe he'll hit. I just like him as a shot with like going around kind of the rookie running back shots and like Trey Benson and them.
I heard Benson's had a terrible camp. I wanted to talk about Rico Dowdle quickly. Just quick, 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, my model looks good on him just because I don't know who's going to – I have him and Zeke kind of splitting, so it looks good for both of them given like where they're being drafted. I'd say pick your one and go with it.
Okay, cool. Okay, back to the
let's see. Nick Chubb. He's just a good shot. I mean, I also drafted Javonte in this round, so I'm a little partial to that, but I think
it's funny if you just pick your own pick in every round.
I was debating it. But I think Nick Chubb's a solid, like, again, you kind of went wide receiver heavy. You'll have a running back to start later. Like, say you kind of went like 0 RB, get Nick Chubb later, and they get a bunch of like pass catching running backs like McLaughlin or them just to start early on. I think he's a good pair with a bunch of wide receiver heavy teams.
Right. There's what would you say? 35% chance that Chubb is just the freak of nature and he has the Adrian Peterson season and it's just like week 100 yards in a TD.
Right? And you got him in your 7th round.
And you win then you win the league.
Exactly. JSN, I think he's probably going to take over that Tyler Lockett stuff this year.
I almost don't want to talk about it because it's like he's my number one guy.
I just don't. Their QB position scares me.
Yeah, I think Sam Howell's better than Geno Smith.
Yeah,
for fantasy at least.
Mm-hmm. Amari Cooper scares me with the trade news with Ayuk, but I mean, if not, I like him in 4th round. Anthony Richardson, I just think being drafted at like wide receiver 7 or something, I think he's a steal. He's gonna be in my top 5 if he's healthy. He's gonna be a stud.
Sure, I mean, yeah, he's the most. What was it like fantasy points per quarter? He like had the record.
Yeah, he just didn't play, but I mean, he's the closest thing to Cam Newton that we've seen.
Maybe a good Cam Newton. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Jalen Waddle, I kind of spoke about them. I like Malik Neighbors' price way more than Marvin Harrison. I think they'll be pretty similar. Both clear wide receiver ones on their team.
Yep.
If you want the upside of one, I would go Neighbors. I think in general, Neighbors just has more of an upside game. Harrison seems like a safe 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns.
I think it's just a QB play, right? I think it's just nobody wants Danny Dimes.
Yeah, I agree. But where you're getting them, I just like Neighbors more there.
Sure.
If DK's at the end of the second round, I'm taking him every time, especially the team that's like 32. And then I say favorite first. I mean, I really like where I got Brees, but I'm also huge on Saquon.
Okay.
Like, I think he was on a terrible offense, got fed the ball. Now he's on a great offense, with a much better offensive line. The Eagles paid him. Like, they're going to use him. And if you think about their offense last year, they just hyper-targeted 3 players. It was Brown, Smith, and Goddard. Goddard, like, kind of up and down.
Yeah.
This gives them kind of a fourth option in the passing game that I think they'll utilize, whether it's motion them out. They never motioned last year. Kellen Moore, I think, is going to do a lot more motion. I just think – I am an Eagles fan, so –
Caveat.
needs to hear that, but I think he's going to be used a lot.
Okay,
and that, like,
cool.
I have him at running back 3, and that includes me taking a bunch of touchdowns away and giving them to Hurts.
Push, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, I feel like we could always just do this for hours.
Yes.
We barely touched the mock, but let's wrap it up. So anyone listening, right? Sport ethos. We got the all sports pass. Get every sport, right? We do baseball, basketball is obviously the marquee, but football is growing, especially with guys like Brian bringing the data analytical side, right? His model's going to be great for right. You're going to have it during the season, right? We're going to have projections.
Yeah, I'm looking to be on Thursday show, and we're probably just even going to walk through that model for like the Thursday game.
Cool. Okay.
Models
great.
based off of betting
I think
lines.
I'm on that.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Great. It'll be based
fun.
off betting lines. Yep. So
Yeah.
under off that. So
oh my god! If I can actually start winning money at gambling this year, that would be great. Okay. So Brian, you got last words?
No, I mean, this is fun. We'll kind of stay in touch, and you guys have any questions. I tend to be the pessimist just because I'd like to go back to the mean. So if you need to be walked off of a cliff or helped off of a cliff, by all means. But I try to have backup for everything. So
cool. Famous last words. All right, Brian, thanks a lot. We'll talk soon. Probably got another mock coming up. All right, everyone. Good night.
See you guys.